So we're gonna bring the show home. We're gonna do a little Destiny here. Well, I said little, I meant it. So he was on to he's been spurging out like crazy. Okay, Destiny has been losing his shit. He's part of it's engagement farming, but I also think he's also just kind of losing it a little bit. In all sincerity, I think he's just fucking broken himself. Because he's all like he's a traitor. He's un-American. He tried to do a coup. All this kind of crazy shit. The fake elector scheme. He's obsessed with that. He's had several lawyers from all different stripes explain to him why that wasn't that big of a deal. But he decides to take his own opinion of his non-lawyer friends, all these streamers, 20-somethings, people in their early 30s, and they're like, no, we know the truth. We know how the law works. It's not unsurprising that he's as brazen as he is. But let's check in with this debate that he was in. Apparently, from what I understand, Piers Morgan, of all fucking people,
do you ever
bodies him? So it should be interesting to at least watch from that perspective. I'm going to try to put my ad blocker back on. I hate these motherfuckers. There we go. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it don't. Got to find the right spot in the video. Here we go. So because they come in like 15 minutes into this video. But yeah, this is what we're going to end the night with. Should be a lot of fun. We get Destiny and we get Chunk Yogurt. I mean, come on. What a special day. Piers Morgan is a savvy operator, man. He really is the kind of guy. I don't like Piers Morgan, but he's the kind of guy that really knows how to read the room in terms of like what's going on in media, and he kind of shifts whatever he's doing at any given time to kind of be a part of that. So recently, over the past like 6-7 months, Piers Morgan, or actually since last October, essentially, he started kind of engaging with the YouTube world. People like Destiny, Libertarian Dave Smith is on here all the time now for some reason. And it's one of those awful like kind of panel shows where people just yell at each other. It's really unproductive. It's stupid, but sometimes it's entertaining. And hopefully this one will be. Like I said, I have not watched it yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Brissinger says, I knew I would get the lowdown on Destiny here. Well, Destiny is just, he's just like, I have so much like contempt for him because he's not stupid. He's not stupid. He knows what he's doing. He just realized he could be pro-Israel and turn himself into a crazy partisan hack. I mean, like he spent the last year like studying the history of Israel and Palestine and all this kind of shit. Or when I say studying, I mean like in quotes studying. Because he has to study to go have conversations with people that just do shit for a living. It's insane that he's invited on these panels and for these debates, but his star rose considerably. And I think a lot of it went to his head. He had never been this famous outside of like the sector, Like he doesn't even have like 1 million subs. Destiny is kind of a niche dude, but he does very well for himself. But let's see what's on offering here.
Politics. If this individual is running for presidency, if he can tangibly show that he's at risk, why would you not allocate the necessary resources to keep this man safe?
Congressman?
Yeah, I think they're talking about RFK because they refused him Secret Service protection, but they capitulated. They did capitulate. I think this is from today, but maybe it was filmed yesterday. I believe today they agreed to give him a security detail.
Corey Mills, thank you very much indeed for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Piers. Honored.
Well, join me now as commentator and streamer Destiny, host of the Dave Rubin Show, Dave Rubin, co-founder of the Young Turks.
Dave Rubin also sucks. So does Chunk Yogurt. Everybody on this panel sucks. It's just a panel of suck.
Check Yuga and the Outkick host, Charlie Arnold. Well, welcome to all of you. Check Yuga, we've spoken a lot about this presidential race over the last year. Where are we now with this? Is it right to assume that two things...
Like, imagine having to just sit there and stare dead into a camera, waiting to be beckoned. Like, to me, this would be so humiliating in a way. It's just because it's pageantry, it's theater, it's like not even real.
Things have happened as a result of this attempted assassination.
It's also very dystopian. This is fucking like what we, I love fucking dystopian sci-fi movies from any age, really, but it reminds me of something you'd see in like the 80s. Just a bunch of fucking bobbleheads arguing about something. Something like out of Starship Troopers, the movie, not the book.
One is that Donald Trump has got exponentially more popular because people feel a real empathy with him for what happened. And secondly, that Joe Biden is more likely than not now to remain the Democrat nominee.
Yeah, because there's no reason to replace him anymore. And whoever's on their mic, I have headphones in so I can hear it. They got chattering in the background. It's really annoying. Brissinger says he's going to go down in history as the smallest, biggest smart retard. I can't disagree with that. Brissinger says, can I just say Destiny is in his house. Everyone else is pretending they aren't home. Brissinger says, good movie. Funny.
Yeah.
It is a good movie.
So,
actually, I got to put that on the list for watching talks. We got to do Starship Troopers one night. I got to rope Prophet into that, though. It's me and Prophet. If you go back on our YouTube channel, it was kind of when early days of Prophet being involved with Zoobox. We did a great, awesome podcast. Like it was like almost 3 hours long. We talk about the book, we talk about the movie, we compare and contrast, we talk about life, philosophy, a lot of stuff. It's a really great episode.
so there's no reason to unilaterally surrender to Donald Trump now, but that's what it looks like the Democrats are doing. So I hope that they pick up the campaign to oust Biden again, because he's clearly not going to win. All the interviews are disasters. I don't want to surrender to Trump, but apparently Democratic officials are considering it, which would be just keeping Biden in the race. That is a form of surrender, because they don't want to waste any of their so-called talent because they're so despondent about the race. I think that's pathetic. They should fight. And if they have a new ticket, they still have a perfectly good chance of beating Donald Trump. Now, I do want to say, though, there's a second topic here. Your interview with Corey Mills, Representative Mills there, I think it was dangerous and wrong. So you guys said, oh, well, this shouldn't be a partisan thing and we should turn down the rhetoric. And then you implied that maybe the Secret Service or the Biden administration allowed the shooting to happen.
Well, no,
that's
nobody,
nuts.
no,
That's not
hang on.
turning.
Nobody
you
implied
definitely
that.
did.
Like I love these people. They're all mind readers. What you really meant to say was, you just didn't have the balls. Brissinger says in reference to Starship Troopers, I love when the girl gets eaten. Yeah, Izzy, dude. Rest in peace, Izzy.
Nobody
definitely did, Pierce.
Well, I certainly did.
You kept talking about, oh, well, look, I'm not saying conspiracy theory, but hey, it's so easy to find.
just
And why
to
didn't they
correct you,
find
Jake,
it?
just to
You
correct-
didn't, and you didn't
Hang
just
on.
say negligence.
Hang on, I didn't.
And forget about you, Corey Mills.
Right, okay.
He didn't say,
Just to
oh,
be
hey,
clear,
look, hey.
okay.
He said maybe it's
Let
not
me
just
respond.
malpractice. Maybe it's not just negligence.
This is how all these shows are. That's why they're so annoying, because it's just like Chank or whoever will just go in on something and just hyper fixate on some kind of something that's like stretches the truth a little bit to suit his agenda.
I didn't.
What does
I
that
didn't
mean?
say that.
Is
I
a
didn't-
lunatic suggesting?
Am I allowed to respond?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. First of all,
Is a lunatic suggesting that the federal government is untrustworthy? I don't know, Chank. You're supposed to be some sort of progressive. Aren't you suspicious of all these intelligence agencies and Secret Service? And I mean, aren't you? You don't even like Biden. Fucking President Applesauce brains.
I didn't say anything that you just said. Secondly, he did raise the specter that there's something very odd about all this. And by the way, there is. I'm not a conspiracy theorist either. But the idea that the President Trump, who was recently the President of the United States and is very likely to be again, was shot from 150 meters by a kid with an AR-15 who was seen by spectators nearly a minute before he unloaded 8 bullets in the direction of Donald Trump, is very, very strange. And if you don't think it is, then I think you're being a little bit disingenuous. Now, what is the nature?
So you are a
what is the
conspiracy
nature of that strangeness?
You
We
are a
don't.
Oh, so you are a conspiracy theorist. Like, you're a psycho for observing reality and fucking noticing something. Like, what? Like, these fucking bootlicking pieces of shit. Like, it's so disgusting. Oh my God.
Conspiracy
We
theorist.
don't know what's happened here, right? But no
So
one
look,
can yet.
if you
No
say
one
it's
can
ne-
yet give a legitimate explanation as to why this could
Piers,
possibly
if
have
you-
happened.
Yeah, and the explanation ended up being that the roof was too sloped, or maybe the guy didn't show up for work that day, so just nobody did anything, and the Secret Service didn't bother checking to see if the local yokel cops that they had hired apparently to do this really important job were doing their job. It's fucking, it's. I mean, just to even notice that's a fucking problem. Brissinger says, "Well, they are getting well paid, okay." I don't even, dude, I don't even know if they get paid to be on a show like this. They just do it because they're clout chasing goblins.
If you say it's negligence, I'm with you. If you say it's malpractice, okay, I get it. 160 feet, why is he on the roof, etc. But you're clearly implying that it is odd, as in not negligence, but something that was planned.
No, I don't know.
Well, first of all, saying something is odd and it could turn out that it's negligence is completely plausible. Like, why? Like, what is there this rush to just shut down all conversation about it? Like, it's so. I don't even know what to say anymore. I've said it all already. Brissinger says, "What would you do for $500,000?" I don't know. That's a good question. I don't even know if I could answer that unless somebody presented presented me with that, like for real. I'd love to be able to say, well, I don't stand on my principles, and no, I wouldn't take that money. But who knows? I mean, would I go on a show like this and start yelling at people for fun? Fuck yeah, I would. Why not? Might as well get into the arena. It's never going to happen, dude. Zoobox is like fucking vapor. There is no traction for Zoobox. There never will be. I've accepted this.
No,
By
I'm
the
not.
government.
No, I'm not. I don't know.
Hey, get out of here, man. What the hell? Jesus Christ with these
Yeah, because he must be at the RNC. That was Alex Stein.
lunatic Republicans. Total lunatic Republicans. Yeah, go ahead. Tell me you're a lunatic.
Yeah, lunatic Republicans because he interrupted you and made fun of you during your fucking interview, chunk.
Conspiracy theory about how odd
I don't have.
Brissinger says, "We love Zoobox, though." Laugh out loud. Well, I love you guys, too. Thanks for being here, man.
Have any conspiracy theories? Do you not think it's odd, Cenk Uygur, that this kid could
it's crazy
stroll
that
across a roof unmanned and just fire off 8 bullets at President Trump from 150 meters? Do you not find that odd?
So I find it deeply troubling. I think that there should be an investigation to.
I fucking hate these people. Then everything turns into semantics. Well, you used a word I didn't like. Whatever, faggot. Okay?
See how they screwed this up. I think the fact that they didn't get there on the roof quicker it speaks poorly of them. On the other hand, can we acknowledge that the Secret Service surrounded the president and would have taken a bullet for him and would have died for him? But all they're getting now is odd conspiracy theories about how maybe.
Why do they all have to be involved? That's the smokescreen. That's the obfuscation. Well, everybody had to be in on it. Like, no, not really. Not at all.
Well, aren't you implying? Hold on, Pierce. You tell me. Aren't you implying that they let it happen?
No.
Aren't you implying that?
No.
Obviously, what does odd mean? What does odd mean?
No,
Go
I'll
ahead,
tell you what
odd means.
I don't know. What does troubling mean, Chunk? What does troubling mean? What does disturbing mean?
Tell you what odd means. Odd means that the Secret Service's primary function is to preserve the life of whoever is president of the United States, right? And they allowed this roof to be unmanned.
Allow.
Well,
You use the word allow.
They use the word allow. Yes, whether it was negligence or intentional, they allowed it. Yes, Cenk, it's the English language. Let me go back to Kyrgyzstan or whatever the fuck you're from. Oh, Turkey. I'm sorry. Brissinger says they need to just put bibs on and start throwing food at the camera. Dude, they should. This should be in a coliseum, and they should be filled with people just throwing shit at them while they try to talk.
Okay, somebody made a decision not to have that roof patrolled, even though, as
You
we've
don't
heard,
even know that.
Hang on. Well, somebody did because it wasn't patrolled.
No, that's also not true.
Well, it is.
So look,
it is true.
Pierce.
Actually, well, it is kind of true. And there were people warning the police. 26 minutes. They knew this kid was around for 26 minutes. 3 minutes before the shooting, somebody else was pointing it out to the police and to the Secret Service in the tower, trying to direct them. Look over there, look over there, look over there. Dude, there's a gun. There was people in the crowd yelling, yo, there's a dude with a gun over there. fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. I don't know how to say your name. We're gonna call you Spent. He's Spent. First time here. Well, welcome.
Piers, we don't know the last time they looked at that roof. We don't know if they looked at it and then the guy crawled on.
Here's what we do
now,
know.
You mentioned,
Here's
hold
what we do
on.
know. There was nobody on the roof from the Secret Service. Why?
So you're telling me that you know that under Biden, Trump, and all the other presidents, that every roof had a Secret Service person on it in every rally?
Actually, in Cenk, because he's a newsman, but he can't be bothered to look for information to see what the protocols were. You know what I mean? Like, what do they do when they go out there? Well, they did know about that roof, and they decided not to put somebody up there. That's from the head of the Secret Service herself. Yes, Slay Queen. That's from her mouth. They decided not to put somebody up there. And then they didn't really have anybody watching it. They had the local yokels that were just kind of around the perimeter.
Remember, you don't know that. You don't know that.
Can you ever remember a president or presidential candidate who was a president giving a speech at a public rally where a roof 150 meters from his head is...
And Chunk knows. He knows what he's saying is fucking retarded. He knows. He knows full goddamn well. Full goddamn well. But he's such a partisan piece of shit that he has to go into this weird semantic obfuscation. Oh, we can't speculate. We can't speculate. All you people do is speculate. You talk about the incoming fascist authoritarianism with no fucking basis. No fucking basis. You fucking look at the shit that's going on, the lawfare that's going on, and you don't have a problem with, well, that's the system. That's the system at work.
Unprotected by Secret Service. Can you name once
how the
ever
hell would I
that's
know that?
happened?
How the hell would you, Piers? How the hell would you know that? You don't know anything.
I am told.
So
by,
if you say to me,
hold
on. If you
yeah, Cenk could have found this out. He just didn't want to. Brissinger says, "So violent are your gestures, Chunky. How about using quiet hands next time? How well do you think Chunky plays poker? Not very well, I would imagine." He says, "That's the Turk guy." Yeah, that's from the Young Turks. That's Chunk Yogurt, the founder of the Young Turks. Actually, Dame Pesos has an amazing video. I think it's called The History of the Young Turks. It is so good. We should watch it sometime. It is so goddamn funny.
say to me,
I've been told by many experts in the last 36 hours.
Like that lunatic Republican you just had on, who's an expert.
Actually, no.
Talking about, oh my God, oh yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, he was
I don't
also
think it's just negligence. Then what does that mean?
Okay.
Then you think it was allowed.
Actually, the congressman.
See, Chunk Yogurt's like debate style is just to yell until you stop talking, and then he's right.
Who planned it? Who planned it?
Actually, the congressman that I spoke to was on the sniper protection detail for Joe Biden when he was vice president. He probably knows more about it than you do, with great respect.
Okay.
Unless you're about to tell me you are a covert sniper protector, are you?
No, I'm telling you that we don't know anything about when they checked the building. We do know that there was the red-haired guy who talked to the BBC. He told the cops. Then the cops showed up. It's not like they didn't show.
Do you think Chunk will retract his statements? Because I assume this was filmed before it came out that they were aware of this kid for 26 minutes. They didn't know where he was. They couldn't find him. Oh, suspicious character. Well, it's probably fine. It's probably fine. Brissinger says, okay, got it. Dame Pesos. Yeah, Dame Pesos. It's called The History of the Young Turks, I believe. But he's got two amazing videos. He has Election Night 2016, and he's got The History of the Young Turks. The History of the Young Turks is like, it's a real documentary, but done in kind of a satirical way, and it is incredible. Brissinger says, dude, Chunky doesn't even know what his statements are. No, he's just yelling. He's just fucking yelling. It doesn't matter if whatever he says makes sense or is coherent. He doesn't care. He's a Joe Biden voter.
Show up. And so if you say, hey, we should investigate and find out when was the last time they did the perimeter check? When did they get on that roof? I totally agree. If you say negligence, I totally agree. If you say...
says, and there were police in the building. Yeah.
Trump was brave in that moment. I totally agree. But if you start implying, which you definitely are, and Corey Mills definitely is, that it was planned, or that it was so odd that it happened. You're saying it like the Epstein thing was odd. The Epstein,
like suddenly Chunk Yogurt cares about nuance when you're talking? Are you fucking kidding me?
Thing was actually odd. So the video camera's out. That makes me think, yes, there was something planned. I'm brave enough to say that. Instead, you're implying it. Corey Mills is implying it. So just say it then.
No.
Don't tell. What does odd mean?
Okay, again, I will say to you, I am not saying anything was planned. I'm not saying there was any.
He Spence says it's a new report. Yeah, I mean, this is all breaking. This is all happening in real time. So we're probably behind all the information that's been coming out as we've been live streaming. So if there's any holes here in what we're talking about, I do apologize for that. I'm only one man, you know?
The inside job at the Secret Service to allow this to happen. I am simply saying.
You're implying that. You get that, right?
Here's
Don't
what
you
I'm
get that you're implying that?
Here's what
That's
I'm
what
implying.
The viewer's going to think.
Here's what I'm implying. There was such a catastrophically negligent failure here by the Secret Service. I completely understand.
Fucking Dave Rubin thinking about sucking his husband's dick. He's like, oh, fuck, I could be getting fucked in the ass right now. I could be calling my nanny to go get the babies because my husband wants to fuck me in the ass right now.
Why so many people are utterly bemused that this could ever have been allowed to happen.
Oh, Russian asshat in the chat says 67 followers. Thanks, man. I really do appreciate that.
The idea you have a perfect vantage point over Donald Trump from 150 meters at a public rally, given how divisive and polarizing he is, given how vehemently some people hate him, and given the threats of violence he's had on many, many occasions, the idea that that roof remained unmanned by Secret Service is to me very bloody odd, Cenk. Yes.
So you're implying that there is a chance that it was planned?
No.
Why do they go in circles? Like, what's the point? Piers, be a host. Move on. You've been talking about this for fucking 8 minutes.
I'm not. I'm implying
that's literally what you just said.
Literally what I'm doing is implying that there's something we don't know about what's happened here, and we need some
answers.
Then
what would it be?
We need some answers I have no idea. I don't know. Now let me go to some of the other panelists, because we've expended a lot of energy on this. I think, Jack, you have to go, so I appreciate you. I appreciate you calling me a conspiracy theorist. Thank you for joining me. Let me go to Dave Rubin.
Anytime.
All right, thank you. Let me go to Dave Rubin. Dave Rubin, this is the problem.
Chunk Yogurt is very busy at the RNC spurging out someone. He's very busy.
If you can't raise questions, serious questions about what's happened here, or suggest that it's off.
Persinger says, you have to understand, these are the two oldest people in the room. You know, you're not wrong. It's got that boomer energy, you know? It's got that Facebook fight energy.
Without being branded a conspiracy theorist by people like Cenk Uygur, there's a bit of a problem, isn't there? I mean, it seemed to me, not just negligence. There's something very strange about this whole incident and how it unfurled. I have never seen members of the public, nearly a minute before a shooting at a president, raising the alarm and telling people the guy's on the roof. Have you?
Yeah, well, Piers, I haven't been on camera with that guy in about 8 years, but I'm just reminded of the brain-piercing, serious.
And if you guys don't know, Dave Rubin used to be a part of the Young Turks. He was one of these people like Why I Left the Left back in like 2015-ish. That's kind of he rebranded as a classical liberal, and now he's just a conservative, I think. I don't know. He's getting butt fucked by his husband. That's all I know.
Headache you get listening to him. You just laid out very calm and cogent questions as to what happened to the man who is the ex-president and could be future president of the United States. There was either a catastrophic.
Brissinger says, laugh my ass, you start shitting on Chunk. Well, you know, when Dave Rubin like rebranded and left the Young Turks, they dedicated a lot of time to shit on Dave Rubin. A lot of time. Brissinger says Chunk knew this was coming. Oh yeah, I mean there's no love lost between Buttfucker and Chunk Yogurt.
Catastrophic failure, which we're all acknowledging, or something more nefarious. All we can do is ask questions. The redheaded guy with the visor who was interviewed on the BBC saying that it was probably about 2 minutes, and we'll find out the exact details on that, about 2 minutes before, where he was warning law enforcement that there was someone on the roof. Well, in 2 minutes, Piers, right now, I have an IFB in my ear. I have a microphone right here. That's what all of the agents around there have. And they're all connected to a network of people who are telling them where to look and what to do. I'm not of course, and I'm not.
He says his show on the Blaze. Is he still on the Blaze? I know he used to be. He might be still on the Blaze. I don't even know. I know he does his own thing, and then he started his own media company, Tenet Media. I mean, he's done a lot of entrepreneurial stuff. Like, he was involved with Rumble. He started Locals, and then he sold it to Rumble, making him very wealthy.
I'm not an expert in this, but we all know this. Corey Mills happens to be an expert.
Brissinger says, what's the fucking green thing to the right of Ruben? Wait for a close-up. It's probably a plant. You know, you got to make these sets look alive. Not everybody's as confident as me and just shows a nightmare shelf and my boy Mike Lindell. Brissinger says, AI background? I don't know. No, I don't think so. No, it's just the soft focus of the camera. It's probably a DSLR.
And your interview was quite good with him. So the idea that 2 minutes went by and nobody looked at the roof, and by the way, the Secret Service director is now saying the reason they didn't have anyone staged on that roof was because there was a slope on the roof.
It's nonsense.
And they didn't want one of their agents to get hurt. I mean, I've got roofers out on my roof right now. There's a little bit of a slope. They have special shoes. They make it work. The whole thing is insane. But I would say at the political level, this has re-energized not just the Trump base, which was energized, but this new wide swath of disaffected liberals and UFC fighters and NFL players and just good, decent Americans to realize that Donald Trump is not the enemy right now. And this fake call for unity. Yes, I would like unity in a land of unicorns and everything else, but you can't on one day spend 4 years basically calling the guy Hitler and his supporters Nazi. Then he gets shots, and now we should have unity is just nonsense. I'm sorry.
And also for the current president of the United States to be asked, do you have any soul searching about the language you've used, given that days before this shooting, he told donors that it was time to put Trump in the bullseye, and then he tries to dance his way out of this by claiming, I didn't say crosshairs, as if somehow when you talk about human beings, bullseye or crosshairs mean any difference. Obviously, he didn't.
Brissinger says, good old Mike Lindell. What a lead up to Destiny's outbreak. Apparently, Piers slams Destiny pretty hard in this. I saw clips floating around, but I wanted to wait. I wanted to wait and watch it fresh.
Mean I think Donald Trump should be shot, but obviously if you're a deranged lung,
and actually it was breaking about like 2 hours ago, so it happened while we were streaming. I forgot to mention it. He got kicked from kick.com. Destiny used to, one of the places he streamed was kick.com. He was like YouTube and Kick because he was banned from Twitch years and years and years ago for a completely bullshit reason, honestly. But yeah. So he's definitely feeling a little bit of a comeuppance, and I think that's making him double down, like really become entrenched in this rhetoric, this kind of, and it's really gross too. Like there is just no sympathy. There's nothing there. There's a clip of him saying that, like, well, if my parents decide, his parents are Cubans, and if they decided to go to one of these rallies, well, and they got shot, well, that's what you get for going to a fascist authoritarian rally. It's fucking crazy. Brissinger says he obviously wants to be seen as the enemy, but sorry, Destiny, I don't feel threatened. Yeah, no, he's just a hack. He's become just a hack. I mean, he always was, guys. Like he always was a hack, but now it's so much more pronounced that it's. I don't know. It doesn't. It's like everything. It doesn't shock me. He's had gross opinions for years. Actually, remember back when COVID happened and there was all the stuff about the vaccine mandates, and there's people actually floating the idea if you didn't get the vaccine that the hospital should refuse service to you. Destiny was one of those people. And a lot of that stuff got memory hold because YouTube deleted all of those streams. YouTube themselves deleted all those streams, and obviously he didn't really fight too hard to get them back. But yeah, he's been a fucking weird actual authoritarian spurg for a long time.
Young lunatic with an impressionable mind. Who the hell knows what that kind of language? We don't know yet, right? About any of the motivation. Apparently, there's a kind of very, very strange, again, a very strange lack of information that they've been able to find out about this young shooter.
Of course, but you also have to understand that there has been an entire media machine, mainstream media machine, and Democrat elite that for years, since before Donald Trump was president, have been calling him Hitler and his supporters Nazis. What would someone do if they truly believe that? I'm not directly linking this to Biden's bullseye comment, as irresponsible as it may be, or anyone else's specific comment. But over time in culture, if things get normalized, and yes, this man is going to put us in camps, and you can turn on MSNBC on any given day, and they're talking about how they're all going to be arrested and taken off the air, and what he's going to do to minorities and gays and everything else.
Yeah, Rachel Maddow literally said that he's gonna create a death squad to go round up journalists. I mean, these people are completely out of their fucking minds, and they get giant platforms. Joy Reid is literally an insane person, a crazy auntie that has a show that nobody watches. We all just watch the clips on X and YouTube. Brissinger says, I'm actually glad he's getting mixed up in this now. Now my red pill bros can relax a little from the BS coming from this troll. And I hope so. I hope that is the effect of it, is that he just becomes ignored. And it's been great, actually. Since his star has risen, he's done way more high profile stuff, right? He's been on like Lex Friedman, did some debates with him. He was on, he talked to Jordan Peterson, which he turned it into a debate because that's what Destiny does. And he gets bodied every single fucking time because he's so out of his element. He's so fucking arrogant that he thinks that, well, I study a lot for these conversations. So, you know, I'm just like you guys. Like, fuck you.
All utter, complete nonsense. At some point, people might get a...
Actually, if you want to see a good video from me about Destiny, I did an entire nightcap about the interview or podcast or whatever he did with Jordan Peterson. And regardless of how you feel about Jordan Peterson, it's really what it does. It illuminates how stupid Destiny is, and also the tactics that he uses to try to debate people, which is kind of like Cenk. It's semantics, it's obfuscation, it's speculation. He uses a lot of words like probably. We could say this would probably happen, and then if that happened, then all of these other things will happen because of this things that will probably happen. But the thing is, with him, the entire core of his argument becomes the probably. And then he builds this crazy shit that comes out of the other side because of the probably. That's how he does it. It's fucking really infuriating when you start understanding that. Brissinger says, I didn't know his parents were from Cuba. Definitely gives off Castro vibes or Trudeau vibes. Take your pick. Actually, Destiny's parents are incredibly based. They're incredibly based. They're like MAGA people. And he resents them for it.
Subtle message and then do something crazy. Again, we don't know if that was what happened right now, but we certainly can ask about it.
And I think, to be completely fair, I believe Donald Trump has spouted a lot of very ill-advised and occasionally very dangerous rhetoric. And I want both sides to dial it down, because actually where this leads to is where it's led to. And in Britain, we've had 2 members of parliament in the last 10 years murdered by people for political reasons, basically because, lunatics have wanted to eliminate them. Let me bring in Destiny, because you've been at the center, as you know, of a massive online...
I'll read this right before we get into the Destiny part of this interview, I guess. Brissinger says his mom wishes she swallowed. No lies detected.
Line response to what you were saying. And I want to go through what you said, and I want to talk to you.
Even Candace Owens bodied this little fucking ghoul. Even Candace Owens, who's like kind of fucking retarded. I don't hate Candace Owens or anything like that, but she's a wild bitch. But even she went in there and completely dismantled him because she just didn't let him get away with his usual bullshit. And he just fell apart. He just falls apart. And he's also a giant pussy if you're face to face. It's hilarious. I actually did a video about that too. That's on the YouTube channel.
to you about this in a hopefully in a calm manner to try and understand what you were thinking. So on Saturday evening, hours after the shooting, you said, let me clarify, when I say conflicted, what I mean is I lean towards seeing it as a natural extension of the thing Trump and the MAGA kids support. So I don't think I have much sympathy about the attempt enough to chastise people celebrating it. You couldn't find it in your heart to chastise people for celebrating the near assassination of a man who was president of the United States and maybe again?
Brissinger says Destiny versus Nick Fuentes. Actually, didn't we do that? I think I did that. I did a nightcap when he was on Fresh and Fit. They were on Fresh and Fit, and he got bodied. Nick Fuentes bodies Destiny because Destiny has no fucking idea what he's talking about. And this was back before Destiny had, done more Wikipedia reading. And he gets completely destroyed. He gets completely fucking destroyed. It was hilarious.
Absolutely not. Conservatives have completely bled that well dry. And the idea that they, after engaging in the most divisive and most extreme rhetoric that this country has seen in recent history, that they...
The most divisive and extreme rhetoric. Who are the people that are out there like burning cities down? Is it right-wingers? Is it Trump people? Fuck no, it's not. And he knows that. He's such a slimy turd.
They would come on and beg for sympathy, that it's escalated into some kind of violent confrontation is absolutely insane. Even the idea right now of saying, well, if you call somebody a Nazi for so long, it's, what do you expect people to do? I grew up listening to Rush Limbaugh call Obama a communist every single day he was on the radio.
And also they do this thing where they act like we don't live in a completely different fucking world than 25 years ago. Completely different fucking planet, dude. Over the past 8 years, things have changed.
You've got conservatives that talk about how the mRNA vaccines were ways to sneak microchips into us. You've got COVID lockdowns that were done because the government was trying to take all your freedom away. They won't acknowledge anything that happened on January 6th. They say that the election was stolen and that your country is being taken from you. Like, I don't think anybody should be killed. I don't think anybody should go out and kill anybody. But when you engage in this type of rhetoric and when you turn the temperature up.
Look how excited he is. Because he wants to just displace all of the blame. It all has to be this niche minority of people that say this kind of shit. And they're not wrong either. But there's only a niche minority that have the gumption to even approach these subjects. And Destiny wants to blame them for everything. Regardless, like we all haven't been living through the past few years. Like, give me a break. Holy shit.
Over and over and over and over again. There is absolutely no room for you to be shocked or surprised. And there certainly isn't room for you to ask for sympathy.
But Destiny, you say you don't want anybody killed, and yet you say, I don't think I have much sympathy about the attempt to chastise people celebrating it. People celebrating the near assassination of Donald Trump. If you can't find it in you to chastise...
And also it's an accelerationist posture to celebrate it, because it implies that you hope that it happens again. Because you're going to say, well, that's what you get. That's what you asked for.
People who do that, aren't you just as despicable as the people you've just spent the last 2 minutes haranguing?
No, because they've led the way. This is the environment that they've created.
So you think behaving like the people you think are despicable is the correct course of action?
Not about behaving like the people who are despicable would be leading that type of rhetoric. It would be denying every single bad thing. How many times as a liberal? How many times as a liberal have you been on?
Yeah, because this is what he goes and starts shit with people and tries to get them to say fucked up things. Like tries to corner them so they lose their shit, because he does his Destiny thing, his rhetoric. Vosh is very similar. Vosh and Hassan at least had the wherewithal to just stop debating people, because they just kept looking bad. They just kept looking bad, and they're like, you know what? I'm just gonna be a streamer, and I'm just gonna put out my propaganda. I don't like being called out by everybody. I don't like the fact that every time I talk to somebody, there's a million retweets of some stupid fucking thing I said. Brissinger, I'm talking about fists, but yeah, Nick would win maybe. Nick eats fucking chicken nuggets and McDonald's, dude. Come on.
On a show, not you in general, but like a liberal been on a show, and you've been forced to disavow all of the BLM riots, disavow all of the violence, and blah blah blah. And then you talk to conservatives about it. January 6th,
violence,
that was
that's
a false
good.
flag.
Yeah.
January 6th. Oh, like conservatives disavow January 6th?
Wait. First off, there's an entire
First of all, the entire right wing apparatus, like the media, politicians, yeah, they did. They did. And when they shouldn't have, they did. They capitulated immediately because they're all pussies.
cultural machine that has lied. There is an entire
we just saw it in
cultural
real time. That's it.
What?
That's
So
why
what?
conservatives deserve absolutely zero sympathy for anything that happens as a result of their rhetoric. That's it. It's so easy. Like,
Okay,
it's so
but,
simple.
Okay, but
I'm not
Destiny,
exactly sure what he's talking about, but I would say this is the type of person that the internet has broke their brain, thus leaving them with very little empathy for their co-human. I mean, a good, decent father is now dead because of this. He's had his brains blown out because he was defending his wife and daughter. I would hope that you have a little empathy
Well,
for that.
actually, I
assume
can.
you
Well,
don't-
Actually, he doesn't. Actually, he was laughing about it. Actually said, "Oh, this is the retard that died at the Trump rally." He went looking through his social media to dunk on him. Yeah, that's who he really is. When they tell you who they are, fucking believe them. They don't care if you die. They want you dead. It's fucking insane. The fucking little dweeb who hangs out in his fucking bedroom and streams for 12 hours a day playing video games and pretending like he's a professor? What the fuck?
think he deserved
Well,
that,
let me
yeah.
jump. Let me jump in there because we have a clip of what Destiny has said about that very thing. Let's listen to this.
Fuck it. Fuck the dude, the firefighter guy. Fuck Trump. Fuck the people that support him. I just want you to know, okay? Just in case you're confused.
Now, this is what Destiny also does this because I think he's going to say that this is like a bait clip or something like that. He says, well, I do all these kind of fake bait clips to fuck with people. No, he was all over the internet, all over X, spewing his shit. I think he got demonetized because, you know, he was engagement farming for money. And I think they demonetized him because of it was very obvious what he's doing. And he's doing it in a really foul, fucking disgusting way. Now, Destiny has every right to feel this way. He has every right to say all of this shit. 100%. No, I would not take his right away to do that at all. But, you know, at some point, people got to start playing by Destiny's rules, or people like Destiny. And that's what they do. They demonetize you, they deplatform you, and they say, well, you can still say whatever you want, you're just not here. So fuck you. Because this is a type of person that it was 100% supportive of people being deplatformed in the past. And now that chickens are coming home to roost, suddenly he's worried about it. Brissinger says, yeah, no self-awareness. I think he actually doesn't care anymore. No, I legit think he's a little broken right now. You know, that's what happens when you get left for, he's a cuck who got left for some fucking 20-year-old weirdo. His whole life in tatters. DMs of him being a weird, creepy sex pest have been coming out. Like, he's a piece of shit. On a long enough timeline, all of these guys get revealed to be awful human beings, degenerate fucks. Destiny used to live his degenerate lifestyle out in the public. Used to talk about it all the time. And then it blew up in his face. Oh, God. The Schadenfreude. It's so delicious. So fucking delicious.
It seems like I'm, whatever. If one of you were in the crowd and you're a conservative fan of mine and you end up, getting blown away or whatever the fuck, I'm making fun of you the next day on Twitter. I am 100%.
I mean, I got to say, I just found that repulsive, Destiny. Yeah,
I wish that there is no room.
Look at him. Look at this punum. Jesus Christ. People listen to this dude for real, like for serious. They listen to him. They hang on his every word. A bunch of 22-year-old assholes who are fucking terminally online, addicted to streaming.
There is no room for the hand wringing, and I will not participate in this
it's
anymore.
not hand wringing.
In the hand wringing. No,
It's not
it
hand wringing.
absolutely is.
No, it's just that
Jen
you are
called you out on
positioning
it
yourself.
So well.
No, but
When
no, but Destiny, let me explain to you.
Where conservatives can say anything.
No, I'm not a
He's fucking like the narcissism has just completely enveloped him. And now he can't even see his way out of it. He can't even have perspective on this. Like, so many people have just been like, yo, just fucking maybe log off for a day or two, dude. Like, you're getting crazy. And then he'll engagement farm and be like, no, fuck you, fuck conservatives, blah, 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 blah. He's so disingenuous. He's a slimy prick.
They can have
Conservative.
any conspiracy
I'm not a
theories. They
conservative.
can have any plot. They can do any of these things. And then liberals are
All right,
supposed to sit here and be like, oh my
no.
God, it's so tragic.
No, Destiny.
Absolutely not.
Let me explain.
Destiny, hold on a second. I got a call from the past.
Like, oh, what if it's not going on? What if it's not? Whoa.
Okay, well, sure. So,
That's from when he debated Candace Owens.
absolutely.
Let me explain my position, because I'm not a conservative. I'm not on either side in your race, right? Here's what I think about what you did. You'd like to fire off, as you've done so far in this debate, about your fury at how disgusting Republicans are, how inhumane they are, how they never have any empathy, blah, 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 blah. And then you yourself actually are exactly the person that you're describing. You are
Oh shit, everybody. Dad's home.
What a terrible, terrible day for this molester.
inhuman. You are somebody who seems almost gleeful that a young firefighter with a
And I don't know who this chick is, but I would fuck her brains out if I wasn't married, of course.
family, with a wife and children, who he was protecting as he was shot dead, that he deserved what was coming to him because he went to a President Trump rally, a man who was president of the United States until recently for 4 years and maybe again. You sound almost gleeful, Destin, and I'm sorry, that makes you, frankly, despicable.
I don't think I'm gleeful about anything. I don't think anybody should die. I don't think anybody deserves to die. But you want to talk about gleeful? Look at the conservative response.
Yeah, but these are just consequences, dude. These are just consequences of your political beliefs. You have opinions that I don't like. And these are just some consequences of that. Oh, shit. Man.
To Pelosi's husband when they broke in.
I can answer that.
The idea that he is conflating what happened with Paul Pelosi. People just kind of made fun of him because they're like, "Oh, you're like a fucking weird little creepy gay guy who is called a homeless prostitute to come give you drugs and suck your dick, and it didn't work out for you." That's what people were making fun of. They were dunking on him. Yeah, it was an absurd situation for sure, but it's also not at all the same as somebody trying to assassinate a former president and current frontrunner. Not even on the same planet. Not even worth bringing up. You know what I mean?
Uh-oh.
No, okay.
Mel time.
Why did I say this?
Mel time. It's Mel time.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Mainstream media figures
I can answer that.
I don't care.
I can answer that.
With all due
I think-
respect, I don't care what your
Let
answer
me answer
is.
that.
The reality is that conservatives have been turning the temperature up on the rhetoric. They have been making fun of these types of events for years, and now when something happens to them,
Making fun of these type of events. What are you talking? What are these type of events? These type of events haven't happened. Fucking weirdo.
You're dressing up in lingerie before your mirror at home, tucking your dick between your legs, imagining you have a vagina.
now they're looking for sympathy from the liberal side. Absolutely not. It's insane. It's unhinged that you can conduct yourself in such a manner and expect people to feel sorry when things happen.
Why should anybody on the right listen to a word of your hectoring and lecturing about how they should behave? And by the way, for the record, the mockery of Nancy Pelosi's husband when he was attacked by an intruder with a hammer was also despicable, right? I can see despicable behavior on all sides, and I'm happy to call it out when I see it. You, however, want to present yourself as this great kind of standard bearer of decency who sees outrageous behavior on the right time and again and is incensed by this disgusting, inhumane behavior. And yet time and again, since the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, you have displayed exactly the same kind of inhumane behavior. Fuck him about a fireman who is killed because he attends a rally of a guy he wants to vote for.
My issue with the MAGA kids.
My issue.
It might as well be friggin' Pee-wee's Playhouse. Might as well call it Pee-wee's Playhouse. Are you kidding me?
Brister says, I'm about to pass out, bro. Thanks for the stream. See you next time. Hey, thanks for stopping by, brother.
It's not that they are not empathetic. My issue is that they support a president that led an insurrection against the United States. I'm not here to tone police over their empathy.
80 million people voted for Donald Trump last time around.
That's great. 80 million people voted for a guy that tried to insurrect the government, and it looks like they might try to do it again. I mean, like, I don't know what you want me to say. These are the facts on the ground. The idea that
These are the facts. Yeah, he tried to do an insurrection. Yeah, is that the official? Is that how you say it officially? He tried an insurrection, but wasn't charged for it. You think these fuckers wouldn't have charged Donald Trump for insurrectionist behavior if they could? Are you out of your fucking mind, you retard?
You don't like attacks on democracy, so presumably you would unreservedly condemn the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, because that's one of the most egregious attacks on American democracy of modern times. Presumably,
I don't think that
you will
anybody
take
should
this
be trying
opportunity,
to-
given you
I
are
don't
so
think anybody-
determined to protect the integrity of democracy, you would find it absolutely outrageous that someone has tried to assassinate a president, right?
Oh, whoa. Did Pierce just really cut to the heart of it, didn't he, huh? That he has no beliefs. People like Destiny don't actually believe in fucking anything. They just believe things for moments, for arcs. They perceive their life as arcs on their shows. It's good stuff. This is what he just did to him. Bodied.
If the other conservatives on this show want to say that it was absolutely outrageous
I'm
that Donald
asking
Trump
you.
attempted to coup the government,
I'm asking
then,
you.
then maybe I would. Yeah, no, I'm not going to get on my knees and beg for forgiveness or show sympathy to conservatives.
I'm not asking for that.
You know, the best part of this conversation is this lady right here. My God, she's attractive. I apologize for my crassness earlier, but this is a very alluring creature.
I'm asking you to condemn what happened
And I won't apologize for noticing, okay?
as an egregious attack on democracy. Can you do that?
No, I won't. No, I won't.
You can't do that. You see,
Not
so
even-
why the hell,
Absolutely
frankly,
not.
Destiny,
Absolutely not.
why the
Absolutely
hell
not.
should we listen to
Absolutely
a
not.
word you have to say
Wait, hold
about...
on. Why do you think conservatives haven't been listening to a word that liberals have said about anything for 8 years?
Right,
what do you
but
think
why
is going to
should
change?
they?
You think
But
that if
here's my
liberals
point,
come out now
Destiny.
and they go, oh my God.
Conservatives haven't been listening to anything liberals have been saying. What are you talking about, dude? It's all theater. It's all bullshit. And unfortunately, people are so fucked in the head right now. There's so much mental illness out there that it's spilling out into the reality. It's spilling out into the streets. It's because people are fucked in the head and they can't handle it like they used to be able to. Nobody has perspective. Nobody has fucking lives. Nobody goes through the rites of passage of being an adult. Just perpetual children out there with fucking 85 IQs.
God, this was so horrible.
But here's
They're
my
going to go,
point.
wow, that is true.
Hey,
Maybe
wait a
that's
second.
should also like
Charlie,
turn the rhetoric down a
Charlie,
little
I'll bring you in at the end of this. I promise you, and you'll get a good chance to respond. But here's my problem, Destiny, with your whole position on this, right? Is that you don't actually have anything inside you that you want the other side to have. You don't have any of the empathy. You don't have any sympathy. You don't care that someone tried to assassinate
I'm not
Donald Trump.
asking for
You don't
empathy
care
and
that a young
sympathy. You don't-
fireman
you
with a
don't need any
family
of that.
was
I'm not
killed in the
asking for
process.
that.
You don't
Just don't
actually.
support an
You are not
insurrectionist.
the person. You want these other.
He'll just keep bringing, oh, he's an insurrectionist. He's an insurrectionist. It's like, what does that have to do with anything? He's not. But what does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with your behavior? Like, he's saying that even if that is the case, what you're doing is gay.
Other people to be, and all you do is play whataboutery with every question I give you, and I'm just startled.
It's
that
not
some-
what about it?
Which this is his. Well, this is also one of Destiny's favorite debate bro tactics. Is whataboutery. He'll call it out when other people do it. It's so funny when you watch Destiny debate people. He does the exact same things that he'll like call out other people for doing, like at the same time. It is so hilarious.
We're talking about Donald Trump. We're talking about the temperature of this country. But here's a question for the two panelists. What percentage of this event happening was due to Donald Trump's rhetoric? What do they think the answer to that question is?
What percent?
Yeah, let me ask a retarded question that has no answer. What percentage do you think? This is not a video game, Destiny. Like, fuck. What are you talking about? How are you supposed to answer that? What are you supposed to say? You know what I'm going to say? 5%. 5%. That's my answer.
Percentage could it be that the other side, as we've just heard from Dave Rubin, has spent 8 years calling Donald Trump the new Adolf Hitler, a person who was responsible for the murder of 12 million people, including 6 million Jewish people in a Holocaust. Last time I checked, Donald Trump hasn't murdered 12 million people. So much as you would like him to be...
I mean, come on, Pierce. What are you doing, pal?
Okay, for once, can we not make this about the Jews?
The new Hitler. He's not. But again, to an impressionable young deranged mind who has easy access to guns, that can be easily interpreted an existential threat, said President Biden. Somebody that needs to be put in the bullseye, said Biden.
Okay,
only last week. And guess what? Somebody then comes forward and tries to kill the existential threat.
Rhetoric? Who is engaged in more divisive rhetoric over the 8 years? If you had to guess, if you had to assign a rough percentage,
again, you're playing whataboutery. Again, you're deflecting.
It's not whataboutery.
Joe Biden.
It literally is whataboutery. And also the idea that Trump himself is the generator of all of this and not the media apparatus that surrounds him. They don't contribute at all. What's the percentage that they contributed, Destiny? Is it 10%? Is it 20%? Why don't you just ask him that same question? What would he say? He would say the same thing Dave Rubin and Hot Chick are going to say. Very little.
Just as Joe Biden did last night, just as Joe Biden did with Lester Holt on NBC last night, every time he was asked, have you done any soul searching about your own rhetoric, your own ill-advised use of language, he deflected it back to attacks on Trump. And you're doing exactly the same thing with Republicans.
And I will do the exact same thing.
You say Republicans
you want Biden
you say
to
that they
disavow
are
a
lacking
bullseye comment when Donald Trump was saying Second Amendment people could maybe do something about Hillary Clinton. Like, no, it's absolutely deranged. The double standard that's being asked here is insane. And you heard both of them say it earlier.
The Second Amendment people could do something about Hillary Clinton. Is that a real statement? What is the context of this?
Much of Donald Trump's rhetoric.
And I will say this. I got to say this. Going after Biden for the bullseye comment is a way to just to obfuscate everything else. Because it's a throwaway. It's a stupid thing. Nobody thought that he was talking about shooting the fucking president or that was going to. It's a turn of phrase. It's very common. I mean, come on. So that's exactly why they're hyper focusing in on that. It's retarded.
Contribute to the current environment? Oh, not much at all. Like, no, I'm not going to say anything to these people. Of course not.
You see, Destiny,
You seem oddly unversed in any of the current events that have happened over the last couple of years. First off, politics is downstream from culture, right? And what has happened to our culture in the last 8 years? What has happened to our culture is that the mainstream media has lied about everything, always to the detriment of right-leaning people, whether it is the Russia hoax or COVID or Brett Kavanaugh's a serial rapist or the Covington kids are racist or Jesse Smollett was was lynched or whether it was very fine people on both sides. Every single lie always goes against right-leaning people. So they are slightly annoyed and distrustful of people like you and other people in mainstream media who lie about literally everything. So perhaps
literally everything, like biolabs and Nazis in Ukraine, or like mRNA vaccines that are causing 20% excess deaths.
There are Nazis in Ukraine, and there was a biolab there. Oh shit.
There it is. Yeah, or the fact that COVID lockdowns were going to go on forever, and it was just an authoritarian abuse of power. Or yeah, of course. Like, come on, dude. Conservatives.
Yeah, they tried to do that for a long time. I don't know if you are aware of this, Destiny, but teachers were refusing to go back to school long after COVID was a problem. They were not trying to go back to normal fucking life. Give me a break.
These are masters of misinformation, and it's happening right here.
All right, let me bring in Charlie. He's been waiting very patiently. Charlie, thank you for being so patient. Things have obviously got quite heated quite quickly. Let me give you your chance now to have your say after what you've been hearing.
Now here's the moral grandstanding. I don't know, Destiny, what were you just doing? Like, he's such a loser.
From Destiny.
Yeah, well, first of all, Destiny represents to me a certain subsect of the left, I won't call it everybody, who likes to bully others into saying exactly what they want to hear. And if they don't say it, then you all of a sudden are the problem. And they handle it exactly like.
Yeah. I like them when they conservative, but they nasty.
He's been handling it on the show. It's like a child throwing a temper tantrum. You can't get a word in edgewise. They just kick and scream and yell until you ultimately say, I've had enough. Just say what you want to say and back down. And that's exactly.
See, that's exactly. And that's the same thing Chunk Yogurt was doing at the top of the show. At the top of this interview. It's the same thing Chunk was doing. Destiny is just like Chunk Yogurt. Wow. He's like the fucking big brown buffalo, dude. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
He's nothing but a ghoul and a goblin who works at the basement.
Destiny definitely works at the fucking basement, dude.
exactly what we see a lot of times from people on the left. And it infuriates me because just like we saw on Saturday with the near assassination of Donald Trump, which that is exactly what it was. It was an assassination attempt, yet we have, Dave, like you mentioned, all of the mainstream media putting out egregious headlines such as from CNN, Trump removed from stage by Secret Service after loud noises startles former president and crowd, which completely mistells what actually happened.
Accurate. Here it is. This is the conservative. This is the game
It is,
right now.
It is not.
This is the game. No, it's noticing something. Again, they hate you for noticing something. When all those headlines were put out, it was, and most of them continued on through the weekend after they even found out what happened. Suddenly the media is very careful and they don't want to speculate and they don't want to talk. It's like kind of like David Pakman earlier. Well, I don't want to speculate, but let me say some crazy shit that's just in my head.
Not
right
accurate.
In front of us. It's live right now. You know, Fox News ran that same type of
first
headline,
of all,
right?
we are allowed. We are allowed.
Yeah, Fox News is not a friend to Donald Trump, dude. What the fuck are you talking about?
In this country to ask questions. There was a lot of things that were very off on Saturday,
And other
from the
people are
way
allowed
that
to
the
call you
Secret
an idiot
Service
for it.
handled.
So, I love this country. God bless, I guess. Yeah.
You can see. There you go. He immediately resorts
I know, yeah,
to
here we
we're
go.
allowed
Yes.
to call you
Yeah,
an
here we
idiot.
go.
And that is
Quoting a
exactly the
breaking news
childish
headline as
demeanor
evidence.
that I'm speaking about. On Saturday,
Don't
on Saturday there were a
talk
lot of
over
things
each
that
other.
should.
Let me just ask you this, Destiny. You were asked on that clip we played earlier if you'd have the same attitude if your parents had been killed at a Trump rally. And you replied, it's less end-of-life costs for me. Would I lose sleep over it? No. Do you understand how grotesque that sounds?
It sounds grotesque, but the environment that we're in right now is grotesque.
Why do you want
cannot
to sound
engage
grotesque?
in
I don't
behavior.
understand.
You cannot engage in behavior that leads us to this point, that brings us to the precipice, and then say, wait a second, wait, are you taking this a little bit too far?
So just to be clear,
we're
hang on, Dave. Hang on, Dave.
We are
Hang on.
exactly here
Just to be
because
clear,
of what conservatives have said.
Just to be
over the
clear,
last 8 years.
Destiny,
Here we are.
if it was close members of your family or close friends who had gone to that Donald Trump rally and who'd lost their lives, one did and two are critically ill, wounded, if they had died there, you would lose no sleep over that. Is that your position?
No, of course I would be sad. It would be tragic, of course. And the closer they are to you, the more sad it would be. The same way that if you had a child that, tried to rob a store.
Like, it's incredibly autistic. And then he's like, if you had a child that tried to rob the store, that would be sad. I assume that's what he's about to say. That is not the same at all. That's another thing these people do. They flatten everything out. Everything is the same. Everything is the same. Every moral dilemma is exactly the same fucking thing. Every ethical problem is exactly the same thing as some ridiculous fucking parallel I'm going to draw. That would not be the same.
Store and the child got killed by the police. That would also be tragic and sad.
So you wouldn't think
but I mean, like,
you wouldn't
at
think
the end
fuck
of the day,
them because they're your family.
Because he just said a kid that tried to rob the store, right? What about people that are just think differently than you that go to a political rally? How is that at all analogous? He's drowning. I think he knows too. He knows that he looks like a dipshit. That's why he's spurging out.
Family, then you'd have a different rule for your own loved ones.
would I feel more upset if a person very close to me died rather than a person farther away from me died? Yeah, I think the answer there is yes.
Yeah, but you
it
weren't
doesn't
just
change
not. You weren't
materially
just.
anything.
Just to be clear, you weren't just not upset by the death of that firefighter who'd given great service as a firefighter to his country. You were gleeful and you said, "Fuck him." Fuck him.
I'm not. It's
Would
not
you
about
say
being gleeful.
fuck
It's
them?
about
I'm not. Oh, do you have to own your shit, Destiny? Oh, that's tough, dude. It's almost like, oh, what happens? What happens when you go into unfriendly waters every once in a while that aren't on your show, where you can just like stomp away mad and be like, I can't even talk to these people. I'm telling you, you should go out there and look. There's some wild shit from over the weekend. He did some spaces. I think most of it's on his YouTube channel. I didn't really listen to much of it because, like, who wants to fucking listen to this over and over and over again? But it's out there.
If it was your family and friends.
Because he was a Trump supporter.
I would say that if they go to a rally like this and they support an insurrectionist president and something happens to them, I would feel sad on a personal level because they're my parents. But again, I learned from them more than anyone else. I grew up in Nebraska. You learn that if you mess around and if you do dumb stuff, that there are going to be consequences.
And would
for
you
that.
think?
If
And would you
anybody
think?
taught
All
me
right.
that-
And having a different opinion than Destiny and supporting a president that Destiny doesn't like is fuck around and find out. Like, does he even hear himself? Like, really, I honestly do think that, like, his brain broke a little bit. Even he's not this fucking ridiculous normally, but holy shit.
And would you be happy to say, you know what, fuck them about your own
His
parents?
rhetoric is far more dangerous than I've ever heard anything that Donald Trump said. What he's saying right there, he is saying you should have no empathy or sympathy for your fellow human. You know, we can all disagree. We can disagree about.
Dave Rubin's such a retard. Like, he should have said what I just said. Like, actually listen to what he's saying and stop waiting for your turn to talk. Like, respond to what he's saying. You could fucking dismantle him.
Politics, of course, we can even disagree about how the media frames things and everything else. But he's basically saying show up to a rally and get killed, and that is absolutely psychotic. I'm sorry. And you know, the other part of this that's strange when people are calling for unity right now is if this had happened to Joe Biden, if Joe Biden had been shot at and had part of his ear blown off, the very people calling for unity right now would be calling for the rest of us to be put in jail. So there's a strange asymmetry there as well.
And I would
yeah, it's been very funny to see all the politicians and pundits who, you know, call Trump an authoritarian fascist and the end of democracy suddenly being like, speedy recovery, sir. Oh, yes, speedy recovery. I would never in 1,000 years think of something like this. Come on now.
The strange asymmetry was Biden trying to make a phone call to the wife of the killed firefighter and her rejecting the call and Donald Trump not even reaching out. Okay, that's the asymmetry. When you talk about it's just politics.
He doesn't owe them that at all. Why would he? Why would she? Why would she? Why would she take a call from a fucking guy who doesn't even know what the fuck is going on? What's the point? And apparently she did it in honor of her husband. Her husband's, you know, was a hardcore, you know, I think Republican, hardcore Trump guy at the very least. And she said, well, he wouldn't have liked if I had accepted that call, so I didn't. So good for her. It's almost like people have loyalties outside of whatever fantasy fucking theater everybody wants to put on, pretending like they give a shit for 10 seconds.
This is the cancerous brain rot that conservatives have fooled everybody into thinking. It's not just politics to think that vaccines will kill you. Okay, I've got 3 dead family members from COVID. My mom won't get a vaccine. Okay, after both of them were in the military, these guys went up and down.
I'm not vaccinated. Thank God. Nobody in
don't
this
worry, we can all
studio is
tell.
vaccinated.
We can all
Thank
tell.
God.
My parents went up and down a line when they did basic training for the Air Force. They got 20, 30 vaccines each. My dad has a vaccine injury.
Exactly. Again, another example. Everything is the same. Everything is the same. My parents were in the military. They got all sorts of vaccines. What does that have to do with this vaccine specifically? Are you not allowed to have questions about the efficacy of something that was just invented? It's something else, man. It's something else. I don't understand why people give dudes like this the time of fucking day. But here we are. I'm part of the problem. I'm not going to lie.
Shoulder, and the idea of not getting vaccinated was unconscionable to them until the conservatives spread these messages that are just politics.
Let me ask you this, Destiny. Let me ask you this,
The
Destiny.
science has shown that the vaccine actually was one of the worst things you could have done for yourself. Thank God I didn't get vaccinated. I thank God every single day I didn't get vaccinated.
Let's not get. I don't want to get. Look, I don't want to read. I don't want to get back into COVID. I don't want to get back into COVID, right? Hang on, Charlie.
Asymmetry of it all.
Hang on, Charlie. I don't want to get down into COVID again. I want to stick to this story, and I want to ask.
Pierce is all like, Charlie, calm down.
Women.
You, Destiny, about Elon Musk, who is responded to one X user who was calling for him to demonetize you on the X platform. And he said, you're right. This is not appropriate content for advertisers because of the offensive tweets you were aiming at Trump supporters. What is your response to Elon Musk?
The same response as it always has been. Elon Musk is a thinly veiled, I would say, like anti-woke, anti-SJW, basically right-wing supported guy. And if you say things that they don't like, of course they'll demonetize you, they'll cancel you. Conservatives are some of the least principled.
That has been happening to conservatives on the right for years. This very thing that he's describing. And because there's a platform that isn't run by a bunch of woke assholes, and I don't really know much about Elon Musk, and I have no idea if he's a good guy or not, but at the very least, he's not a woke asshole. and suddenly we have a problem with that. I thought, doesn't he have a right to run his site and his business however he sees fit, right? Isn't that what everybody said? Hey, listen, man, you can say whatever you want. Doesn't mean you can say it here, though. Isn't that what we've been hearing for fucking years? Like it's like some targeted thing. The shit that goes on X. Are you kidding me? Like, it's pretty wild out there. It's like Twitter circa 2014. It's pretty wild on X right now. So the idea that suddenly, oh, this is a problem, conservatives are the least principled people. It's like, no, man, maybe at some point people are going to be like, well, if these are your rules, I guess we're going to have to play by those rules now. Hopefully he lands on his feet.
People in the universe when it comes to freedom of speech. As soon as they have any power to demonetize or spam report somebody's sponsors or anything like that, of course conservatives will jump onto it. My account also was demonetized, I think in like 12 hours. Thank you very much, Elon Musk. Although I do notice that my docs has been floating around Twitter for 2 days now, and tons of accounts that I've been reporting that haven't been banned yet. But
I hate to tell you this, but doxing is not illegal. It might be against terms of service, but it's actually not illegal. You can post people's address and there's really nothing you can do about it, unfortunately. Honestly.
But I'm glad we got our priorities straight there.
Again, here's what I think we're all struck by. Your position seems to be that anyone from Donald Trump to his supporters who represents their thinking, their ideology,
deserve to die. They deserve it. They have it coming. Fuck around and find out, he said.
Their political views, that if they are killed by an assassin at a rally, then they deserve what's coming to them. And in your words, fuck them. I mean, do you not understand that to most decent Americans and to decent people around the world, that is incredibly offensive and makes you look like a two-faced hypocrite, somebody who wants the other side to behave to a certain level of decency, but is himself incapable of displaying it.
The conservatives don't have it in them to have that level of decency.
So why don't you rise to a higher bar? Why don't you yourself show them the promised land destiny? Show them the way they should be behaving.
Have been doing it for 8 years. There's nothing to be gained there. So instead, we'll just have a laugh instead. When you're asking for this type of decency, you're saying like they did for Pelosi's husband, like they did for BLM people.
Paul Pelosi didn't die. Exactly. Thank you, Pierce. Thank you. He didn't die. And again, I have to say, not the same fucking thing. Not the same implication. Completely fucking different. And you are drowning if you're bringing up that shit.
People like they did for the endless. He didn't die, but he got the crap beat out of him with a hammer, and they made jokes about his
and
gay
by the way,
lover.
the jokes were disgusting. Why can't you say the same thing about the people?
I don't know, Pierce. I would have to say I think that event was a little odd. Okay?
We're making mockery of Trump. Why do you join the mob?
It's not just the jokes. It's the underlying substantive analysis as well. It's the lack of responsibility for January 6th. It's the lack of responsibility for the Gretchen plot. It's the lack of accountability.
The lack of accountability for the Gretchen plot, the Gretchen Whitmer plot, the one that has been kind of revealed to be completely astroturfed by the FBI. You mean that one? Just, you got to keep up with the news cycle, Destiny. I know you like to talk about Israel and Palestine all the time, but you got to keep up. You got to keep up if you're going to be out there representing, the left, the dirtbag left. You got to be better at what you're doing, pal. Okay?
Accountability for all the comments made about BLM protesters, George Floyd,
by your yardstick,
for all of these.
By your yardstick.
He's like a blue anon person. He just drank that fucking Kool-Aid right down. All the things that he's mentioning. There are all of these weird shit that has tons of nuance and complications. Even George Floyd himself, who died of a fentanyl overdose because he ate a bag of fucking drugs and then wigged out. And we all had to live through it because some fucking degenerate piece of shit who had held a gun to a woman's stomach. We're all supposed to give a fuck? Oh, St. George. Jesus Christ, dude.
What the Republicans should do in response is simply say, fuck all of them. Fuck them all. Who cares?
Pierce, that's what you're not understanding. Pierce, listen to me. This is what you're not understanding. You keep bringing this up to me. Like, well, Destiny, if you act like this, aren't conservatives just going to do? And then you say a thing, but they've done this for 8 years.
Right, so the other side is horrendous. Therefore, I'm going to be even more horrendous. It's so
That's
unprincipled.
the horrendous part about the conservatives isn't just the rhetoric. It's the underlying factual denial of reality. That's the biggest, that's the huge issue. That's the big bad
Let me bring
part.
Charlie.
Yeah, like that all elections are secure, safe and secure, that the vaccine was totally above board. Yeah, you know, just crazy stuff, you know?
Let me bring Charlie back to respond to that. Charlie?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the opposite. I think that, Destiny, you are completely fueled solely off of emotion, whereas I think that, I'll say conservatives, even though I think that it spans past conservatives.
Hey, Corey.
I was thinking about you.
When they look at the facts of the summer of BLM, the BLM movement as a whole, January 6th, this assassination attempt, when you look at the facts, things unfold before your eyes and they reveal themselves to be actually what they are. There's a lot of evidence that has come forth since all of these events in the past have occurred. And they have shown that exactly what conservatives were saying were absolutely correct. Just like the assassination attempt on Saturday, we look at what went wrong. We look at not only was this one rooftop unguarded, but how did the gunman know that the rooftop was unguarded? Why was it that local law enforcement alerted the Secret Service moments before shots were fired?
There it is.
He's like, there it is. Yep. They're going against the official narrative of just a bunch of just dogged civil servants doing what they could. And you guys just want to shit all over them. Oh, my God. But fuck that fireman who was protecting his family, though. I mean, he fucked around. He found out.
There is actually a very good question.
Do you think January 6th, do you think J6 was a false flag?
I think January 6th, there's a lot of discussions to be had. I think there's a lot of facts that came forward. They're definitely.
I will never give sympathy to this side. These guys are destroying the country.
Destiny.
There were agents.
They're destroying the country. What, worse than it's already being destroyed with your boy in office and his fucking the puppet president with Obama's fucking cabinet? Give me a break.
Hang on.
There were agents present. We know for a fact.
Destiny, here's your problem with me.
There were agents present on January 6th. We saw the tourists being ushered into the Capitol building. They're being treated like terrorists. And in fact,
no, dude, like if you open the door and you say, hey, come in. Yes, that's called being ushered in. There is video evidence of this. I hate to break it to you. There's video evidence of them giving the base shaman or whatever the fuck his name is around the building. Yes. It happened. You know it did.
In fact, several months ago, Vivek Ramaswamy said it's only fair that we're able to have a decent conversation about all of this.
Okay, let me say
and in fact, we're not able to have a conversation about any of it.
Suddenly, free speech warrior Destiny suddenly has a problem with people saying things that he doesn't like. He's like, you guys are destroying the country.
People like you.
Let me just say what I think about January 6th, because I wrote it at the time and I believe it today. I thought it was a shameful attack on the heart of American democracy. It was an attempt to thwart democracy taking place. It should never have happened. Everyone involved in any violent act that day was utterly shameful. Donald Trump's rhetoric that day was appalling. All those things are completely true, Destiny. I can happily subscribe to that.
Neither of your other guests.
But here's the thing.
Who cares? He's talking to you.
Neither of these guests agree with that.
But if I'm a Republican, but here's the thing, Destiny. If I'm a Republican listening to you, I'm thinking, hang on, this guy thinks we're all disgusting, we're reprehensible, we have no empathy, we have no this, no that, and yet he himself is proud of being even more disgusting.
Not absolutely. And then I would say, wow, well, nothing has changed from since before COVID, before the vaccines, before J6, when they thought the election was stolen, when they thought that we were forced into lockdowns for no reason, when they thought that George Soros and the world.
That we were forced into lockdowns for no reason, which ended up coming out to be kind of true, Destiny. Like, you know, everybody I think was on board for like 14 days, 2 weeks. All right, we got to come together. We got to do this. And then they just tried to make it never fucking end. What are you talking about? Or at least, at the very least, go way beyond its necessity. He knows this.
World Economic Forum and the IMF banks and everybody were taking over the country, and the Federal Reserve was devaluing our currency. Like, it's all the same. Nothing has changed.
Let me ask you.
Yes, all those things are true.
Look at this.
I'm curious. Wait, can you ask
one
these
last
two guests?
question,
Do they agree
Destiny.
with any part? Do they agree with any part of your characterization of J6?
Destiny, one last question for you. Are you pleased that Donald Trump got shot?
Am I pleased? No, absolutely not.
What is your emotion to the shooting?
My emotion is emotionally what in terms of his personal health is absolute indifference.
No, do you condemn the shooter shooting Donald Trump?
No, not here, not on this program, not in front of these people. Absolutely,
you do not condemn a
Not in
deranged
front of these
shooter
people.
shooting
You are
Donald
truly
Trump.
just a child. This is not.
Actually,
this is
it's
not a
not. No,
competition
you know
here.
what,
We're
Charlie?
just trying to be decent human
You know what,
beings.
Charlie? It's not actually the behaviour of a child. It's the behaviour of somebody who's completely lost his moral compass and any sense of decency.
You're right. A child wouldn't.
And I'm going to go to Dave Rubin. Dave, let me let Dave Rubin respond to what you've just heard from Destiny.
I mean, it's actually one of the most disgusting things that I've ever heard in my life. My entire staff in my studio right now all gasped at that. When I happened to be at Target, the store Target we were checking out when I saw it on Twitter, and my heart actually sank. And I know that that is the feeling of probably 200 plus, if not 300 plus million Americans, even many of whom would vote against Trump and do not like Trump and all of those other things. The idea that you can't show sympathy or empathy for that is so profoundly sad. I would also add one other thing here, which is that the reason you're so emotive and screaming beyond the Red Bull, and dude, just ease up, man, it's not healthy for your heart, is that you really don't have good arguments. So you're petulant and screaming as opposed to just trying to work things out. We're allowed to ask questions about these things, but I would hope that you would try, as Piers is pointing out, instead of always reaching for the lowest common denominator and they're bad, so I'll be worse. I would hope that we could try to be a little bit better than that. And by the way, I think that you're seeing that right now at the Republican National Convention. They're not going crazy over all of this. They're applauding the fact that Trump's there. They're rallying around the new VP choice. And I think you're going to see a wide swath of America that maybe didn't come out for Trump before and they're not traditional conservatives.
I totally agree.
I think you're going to see them support Trump.
I totally agree. And I would say to you, Destiny.
Nothing is more emblematic
I would say to
of the
you,
situation
Destiny.
than the fact that
Destiny.
the VP choice is a guy who's also said that Donald Trump is like Hitler.
Yeah,
I
would
just
say
think it's perfect.
Yeah, he did that back in 2016. He's recanted several times. I think people are allowed to change their opinions. And also the way that J.D. Vance has, I don't know, he's done his job over the past few years. It's been pretty good. He's been pretty solid in his positions. He doesn't mince words. I can appreciate him on that level. Honestly, I don't really have much of an opinion about him, though. So
cherry on
He's
top to everything.
apologized for it and said he got it wrong.
Yeah, I would say this to you, Destiny. Lester Holt asked Joe Biden last night, has he had any soul searching? Right? I think after this debate, you may want to just go away quietly and think about some of the answers you've given and think about the double standard of demanding a certain pattern of behavior from others that you do not sign up to. And you may or may not take my advice. You may or may not take my advice. I'm just saying, on reflection, you might conclude that the best way to
look how jittery he is. He's like just bouncing constantly. He's all hopped up on fucking Adderall and Red Bull. I got to go read a bunch of Wikipedia articles after this, guys. I'm very smart.
Persuade other people to behave in a better way is not to behave in an utterly degrading way yourself. That's all.
I think deleting a YouTube channel only takes one click, Destiny.
Right.
Yeah, right after you, Dave.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you all.
All right. Well, that was a lot of fun. Oh, hold on. Holy shit. I just got a message from Destiny's son. He sent that from all the way from Nebraska, where he lives and where Destiny's is not. Because, you know, a streamer needs to be as far away from his child as humanly possible. But anyways, guys, it's been a fun show.